To be or not to be understood?
That is the question that many people have when it comes to Shakespeare's writings. Tons have similar confusion when it comes to Isaiah's writings. But if this is how you currently feel about Isaiah, don't worry, we got you. This is going to be great. Now, though Isaiah sometimes uses difficult language and imagery to understand, like Shakespeare, he was a brilliant writer who deliberately and masterfully used words to express ideas and should be celebrated. But unlike Shakespeare, Isaiah was one of the greatest prophets and seers of all time, writing from about 740 to 701 BC, covering 40 years and 4 kings of Judah. All right, lots of tools can be used to reveal truths and help us understand Isaiah better, some of which we've already studied this year. We've considered the maps and history of Isaiah's time, when divided Israel was being conquered by the Assyrians and Babylonians, or ruled by the Persians. We've discussed how Hebrew symbolism repeats the same thoughts in different ways and describes things using nature. We know the purpose of life through the plan of salvation. We studied Christ's life. And last year, we examined the restoration of the church and the Book of Mormon, which so many of Isaiah's prophecies talk about. And today, we're on Team Gather Israel. So, keeping these tools in mind as we read Isaiah, we'll add one more, sorting out timelines. Okay, class, welcome to Time Travel 101. As a seer, I was like a time traveler experiencing the multiverse. But really, I was seeing prophecies with multiple fulfillments throughout time. So I wrote about them at the same time to keep it simple. Got it? Perhaps it's simpler if we first understood the different time periods Isaiah's writing about, as they could be hundreds or thousands of years apart. In chapters 1 through 12, he writes about at least 5 different time periods, and he bounces back and forth between them, even writing about many future things as if they've already happened. The first time period is during Isaiah's life, including the scattering of Israel. Having already witnessed the destruction and captivity of the northern tribes, Isaiah warns the kings to repent, or this is exactly what's going to happen to Judah and the southern tribes. He writes, "Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land is overthrown by strangers and is left as a cottage in a garden of cucumbers." What? In other words, the fragile little walled city of Jerusalem will be as easily attacked and destroyed as a shack in a garden. The second time period is during Christ's life. "Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and call his name Emmanuel." Prophesying powerfully of Christ, Isaiah 9 inspired Georg Friedrich Handel to compose the beautiful oratorio, The Messiah. "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace." Next is during the restoration of the Gospel and the coming forth of the Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. When Moroni visited Joseph Smith in 1823, he quoted Isaiah 11, saying it was about to be fulfilled. And Isaiah 2:2 states that in the latter days, the mountain, or temple of the Lord's house, shall be established in the top of the mountains, and all nations shall flow unto it. The fourth time refers to our current day while we're gathering Israel, as well as the last days before Christ's second coming. Our time must have been incredibly important to Isaiah, as he witnessed the scattering of Israel during his lifetime and could hardly wait for them to be gathered again, when the Lord shall set his hand the second time to recover the remnant of his people, assemble Israel, and gather together Judah from the 4 corners of the earth. The last time refers to the second coming of Christ and his millennial reign. During the glorious millennium, the wolf and lamb will live together. The calf and yearling will be safe with the lion. The little child will lead them all, and Christ will reign personally upon the earth. Now, another part of Isaiah's genius that might be really confusing is that many of his prophecies can be fulfilled more than once. Yes, his incredible writings can be applied word for word to totally different time periods. For example, the prophecies about Christ apply to both his first and second coming. And while we know today that the prophecy about the Lord's house being established in the top of the mountains refers to the Salt Lake Temple, the exact same words also applied to Zerubbabel's and King Herod's temples. But perhaps our most important key to unlocking Isaiah is the spirit of revelation, which can teach us all things as we study and pray. Next time, we'll study how the Book of Mormon helps us to better understand Isaiah. It takes a lot to make these videos, so to keep Line Upon Line free for everyone, consider donating through Patreon. The link's in the description below. And thanks for watching. This episode is packed with info, so you might want to watch it again to make sure you didn't miss anything, including the hilarious jokes. If you feel this video has helped you on your path towards truth and Christian discipleship, please subscribe and share. Most importantly, go read the scriptures for yourself.